16. We are going to read Mark chapter 8, verses 10 through finish, so 10 to verse 38. Really quick, according to BibleGateway.com, the verse of the day is, hold on, I gotcha, coming your way. So tired, I'm gonna wake since really late. Bible Gateway. Let's find it. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. John 13:34 and 35, New International Version. Okay, so Mark chapter 8, verses 11 says, the Pharisees came and began to question Jesus. To test him, they asked him for a sign from heaven. He sighed deeply and said, why does this generation ask for a sign? Truly I tell you, no sign will be given to it. Then he left them, got back into the boat, and crossed over to the side. The disciples had forgotten to bring bread except for the one loaf that had them in the boat. Be careful, Jesus warned them. Watch out for the yeast of the Pharisees and that of Herod. They discussed this one another and said, it is because we have no bread. Aware of the discussion, Jesus asked them, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes but fail to see, and ears but fail to hear? And don't you remember when I broke the 5 loaves of the 5,000, how many basketful of pieces did you pick up? 12, they replied. And when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? They answered, 7. He said to them, do you still not understand? They came to Bethsaida, and some people brought a blind man and begged Jesus to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. When he had spit on the man's eyes and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, do you see anything? He looked up and said, I see people. They look like trees walking around. Once more Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes, and his eyes were opened. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Jesus sent him home, saying, don't even go into the village. Jesus and his disciples went on to the villages around Caesarea Philippi. On the way, he asked them, who do people say I am? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others one of the prophets. But what about you? He asked. Who do you say I am? Peter answered, you are the Messiah. Jesus warned them not to tell anyone about him. He then began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by elders, the chief priests and teachers of the law, and that he must be killed and after 3 days rise again. He spoke plainly about this, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But when Jesus turned and looked at the disciples, he rebuked Peter. Get behind me, Satan, he said. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. Then he called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up the cross and follow me. For whoever who wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world and yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? If anyone is ashamed of me and my words in an adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of the Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in the Father's glory and the holy angels. All right, that was Mark chapter 9. Mark chapter 8. Tomorrow we will read the Transfiguration. Jesus heals a boy possessed by an impure spirit. Jesus predicts the death a second time, his death. Whoever is not against us is for us, and causing to stumble. Okay. And then our daily devotion. apologize. Okay, so choosing joy. The world is a weary place. The news reporters murder and violence. Children are abused. Nations war. Our personal lives are messy. Dysfunctional families. Loveless marriages. It too often seems that there's little in life to celebrate. So when someone tells us to be more joyful, we feel that to force a smile and amid all this pain would mean doing a mask we're just too tired to wear. But consider this, despite all the darkness, there is still light in the world, and mere existence of darkness doesn't disqualify the power of light. Choosing joy is a discipline, but it is not about faking it or manipulating your emotions. It's about training your eyes to see the light in the darkness and to regularly celebrate what you see. There is a time to take life seriously, but there's also a time to rest from the race and let down your guard and to rejoice in life you've been given. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118:24. Okay, so we have tomorrow. We are Jack, you're on film right now. Tomorrow we're going to read Mark chapter 9. Thank you so much for listening.